So you were saying what about Shorty?
In a situation where, say, a woman has only been with other women,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she's experienced other women to the fullest, like relationships or whatever. Not even, she's just engaged with other women. Would that still be considered a quality woman to date? Would that be a woman of high like stature?
Well, this ain't nothing to do with her stature, because again, um, stature isn't determined by sexual proclivity. Stature is determined, um, you know, by professional conduct and the ability to keep her mouth shut, right? Because
Right.
a woman's stature is based on her image, just like a man's, right? She could be a straight up professional beast, but at the same time, she's this sexually depraved woman who needs all kinds of different things, right? Has all kinds of different tastes. That's not necessarily your stature, but there are some things that come to mind when you say that. Number one, are you saying like, is she a woman that you should wife or take seriously, like have high stature in your life?
Correct.
I mean, that all depends on the position she plays. That all depends on how you match. That all depends on a lot of different things. The biggest one would be, um, you know, does she actually want to be with a man? She might be sexually attracted to girls and sexually attracted to men. Um, I'm sorry, sexually attracted to women and sexually attracted to men, but she might have a romantic and relationship preference for either or maybe both. And you got to know how seriously you would like to take that. A lot of guys go into situations like that thinking on some, I'm gonna have a blast. I mean, but you don't actually know the depth of which she wants those interactions. You feel me? Like, and a lot of times some girls are like, I'm bisexual, and it's like pause, but you know, they're like they don't actually know how much, right? They don't actually know. Like, okay, do you mean you would date and or marry either gender, or you would date one, marry another, have sex with one, be in a relationship with another? Like, they don't a lot of times they don't get into that, not because they don't know, but because men don't ask. A lot of men don't got no filter. They don't got no filter. Pause. Right? Run
Yeah.
that back. A lot of men don't got no filter. They don't got no filter for women. So they go in like, oh, she's bad, and then they try to figure out how they can get the box. But not every woman is good for a box. Some women are good for other things, right? Like just professional connections. Like a lot of dudes don't even know, like, yo, she could be a smart chick who just can help you in life. And if you just be cool with her, y'all can really have a mastermind that can help you achieve your goals, right? So it's like it all depends on what it is. But now on a sexual plane, when it comes to the box, it's like you thinking, oh, she don't got as many bodies because she's been with girls, right? Okay, yeah, she been with girls, but who have those girls been with? She could have been eating some box that got skeeted in previously, right? So it's like, okay, that's not a body, but she technically got another body plus another 700 million bodies. You get what I'm saying, right? So it's like that's a lot to deal with. That's a whole lot to deal with. So if she's over here eating random coochies for all this time, and these coochies is getting blown to smithereens by men, you know what I mean? She's basically just drinking up cesspools, even though she's not, you know,
Physically
contaminating
engaged.
it. Now, if she start going, crazy on other fronts, like it's like that's nasty, right? You gotta recognize that, and a lot of dudes is okay with it. A lot of dudes don't want to share. you know, bodily fluids, but will share bodily fluids and mix bodily fluids in form of the vagina of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't touch a man's fluids otherwise. But if those fluids are inside of another woman, all of a sudden you cool with touching it. You know what I mean? They even cool with eating it. It's hilarious, bro. I think that's just the funniest shit in the world, right? Logic just go out the window in so many different frames, bro. But like honestly, bro, when it comes to shorties like that, it just depends on what you want from them, type shit. Like, but why? What made you ask that question?
Because we in our society, I feel like we cherish like body count, you know,
That
and
ain't just in our society. Men always did that in every society.
yeah, but it tends we tend to have an emphasis on like women's purity, right? But how what is really a measure of purity? Because essentially, if she's not taking dicks, it looks like she's being pure, quote unquote, you know. But
Yeah,
a woman that's been with multiple females, like you said, she could be sharing fluids and other kinds of, you know, even spiritual things that she could pick up.
exactly. Exactly. So having a, you know, having a girl that swing both ways is, you know, it's a toss up, but you need to she needs to be real with herself as far as like, okay, what does she actually want? Right. And
Where do you think that confusion comes from, like when in regards to women? Because you know, a lot of mainstream. I feel like there's a lot of trickery at play because, like you said, they tend to have men think like, oh, I got a girl that likes other girls. I'm lit. I'm doing it. I'm lit. You know. But in reality, we just it may. Mm, how would you put it? There's more things at play than just like, oh, I got a bitch that like bitches. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Nah, listen, I feel you. It there are more things at play, and you know what I mean. We could talk about some of them off air. But mostly it's like women tend to be more fluid than men, right? And you know, they be exploring. They be exploring in that way. I've never had that urge, you feel me, to ever do any you know, activities as such, you know. Um but they do. They be having that urge to do that. More so the question, because remember the feminine principle represents chaos. Chaos will do anything. You know what I mean? Like it'll do anything. Um, but a lot of times like that there are higher levels of conditioning, and you know, like all of us, we could have had something that happened to them happened to us as a kid, right? So you never really know until you actually talk to the individual and see where their profile is, because everybody's profile is different, right? So you know, you get to know, tap into it, like, hey, what were your experiences? And this is why I talk so much about filters, right? Because a lot of dudes know their woman physically, but they don't know them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like they don't know their experiences. Like, bro, niggas ain't asking questions. They don't ask women questions, like real questions about their life on some I need to get to know who you are type shit. Right? They're like, you
Yeah.
know, what you do? What do you like to, you know, where you want to eat? You know, so it's like, you know, what that mouth do? You know, so yeah, what you up to? They're not like, what are you really good at? Um, you know, what were your, you know, first few sexual experiences like? What's your relationship with sex? That's one of my favorite is, what's your relationship with sex? Are you a person that masturbates more than they have sex? Or are you a person that has sex more than they masturbate? Are you a person that has a wide palette and you like a variety of different things, or are you a person that, you know, doesn't like to explore as much but knows exactly what they like, right? Men aren't asking these questions, bro. They not asking these
So
questions. And so they don't get to actually know, um, you know, like they don't get to actually know these profiles, because a lot of these questions that you have would be answered if you had a filter, right? If you had a filter. And the real game, the real God level game is having multiple filters. You have to have a filter to understand who she is as a sexual being, have to have a filter to understand who she is as a professional being. You have to have a filter to understand who she is as an emotional being, have to have a filter that gets to understand all of the aspects of who she is. But because niggas is so horny, they don't want to sit and ask all these questions, right? But a lot of dudes want the same respect that an employer gets from a woman, but they're not willing to have the same level of professionalism when it comes to actually learning and, you know, and putting things in the right setting, like having conversations in public places and not having any innuendo, just pure conversation. When you ask her about her sexual past or anything, you're not asking her with a sexual undertone. You're asking her with an intellectual one, because you need to know who she is. And she'll snitch on herself if you listen, right? If you listen. You know what I mean? You just
that
gotta
brings
really
up
listen.
that brings up a good point. So where is it that you brought up her snitching on herself, and you also said that women can be chaotic. They are the embodiment of chaos, right?
Right.
And men, once you get to know, like, say you're a woman that you're dealing with, at what point is it self-preservation, or do you try to bring peace in that chaos? When do you say enough is enough and walk away, or is it more quote unquote manly to sit in that chaos and tackle it, if that makes sense?
That's one of the best motherfucking questions I've heard in a long time, man. Shout out to you, man. You that's some real that's one of the best questions man, I done heard in a while. You and my other bro, we be chopping up this God level gaming, bro. Y'all be on fire, bro. Listen, it's a mixture of both, just like yin and yang. Let's get down to the esoterics, right? Yin and yang are opposites of each other, but there is still presence of the other within themselves. There is still a presence. Within the black, there's a white dot. Within the white, there's a black dot, right? It's both. A man needs to ask himself whether the chaos that he is allowing into his life will shape him properly. So it's a matter of you knowing whether it's worth your time, which goes back to the filter, right? A filter is based on what you like. So if there's a filter that's based on what you like, this means that you're going to be in a place where you know what you want from a woman. So if you like a woman who's feisty and and intellectually combats you, that means that you're also okay with, you should be also okay with not getting your way a lot, because, or when you do get your way, she's not going to give it to you quietly, right? She's not going to willingly lay down. So if that's something that you enjoy, then, you know, by all means embrace the chaos, right? And, you know, some men believe that that is actually the definition of manhood, is taking, you know, what another man would consider abuse. To each his own, right? To each his own. I know I know one thing, it's never going to be ordered, right? David D, the way of the superior man. It's never going to be ordered. It's never going to be fixed. You pick the chaos you know how to ride through, man. Run that back. You pick the chaos you know how to ride through. It's some chaoses I'll never ride through. Word is bond. It's some chaos, bro. Word is bond. It's some chaos I will never ride through on everything I love, bro. I'm not riding through it. I'm not riding through a woman that yells. I'm not doing that. If she raises her voice at me, I can't do that. I don't respond well to that. I don't respond well. And I promise you, 99% of the time, whenever if I'm raising my voice, it's because somebody started raising their voice at me. You know what I mean? And I've been in times where I was with, a woman in therapy. And, I was like, yo, let's record. If we have an argument, let's record it. And, see who yelled first. And I let her record some, me record some, all that shit. Right.
Right.
And it was always that way. That chaos, I ain't dealing with that. I ain't dealing with um I ain't dealing with women who don't like their natural self. Like if they can't just be their natural self, I'm not dealing with that. That's not a chaos I want to deal with. Right. So it depends on your chaos. It's all gonna come with chaos, but you gotta pick your chaos. You know what I'm saying? And I like to pick chaos that I know how to exist in. Right? There's chaos not I just know how to exist in, but I also want to exist in. There's chaos I know how to exist in that I don't want to exist in. You feel me? So it's like that principle is super essential. You got to know for yourself. Dang, what do I want from a woman? Do I want a woman that is gentle to me when she speaks? Do I want a woman that is super pleasant, smiles at me a lot? Because that's what I want. I want a woman who is a breath of fresh air. I want a woman who, is easy to talk to. I want a woman who we can have fun and she can also give me my space. I want a woman that's what I'm looking for. That I want a woman who, the chaos I deal with is, you know, regular woman chaos. Like she's frustrated because, something didn't go her way in the kitchen about X, Y, and Z. And, she's telling me to stay out her way. I'm cool with that chaos. That's a perfectly fine chaos for me. You know what I'm saying? You could tell me to leave the kitchen when you cooking. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like, who you telling what to do? Right? That's a chaos I could deal with, right? You know what I mean? That's a chaos I could deal with. That's a chaos I'm perfectly fine with. A chaos I'm perfectly fine with is uh hey, I got hungry and I ate your fries. Can I just give you some more later on? You know what I'm saying? Man, you cook my meals all the time. Of course you can eat my damn fries if you was hungry, right? So it's like that's a chaos. I'm fine with chaos like that. I might still be upset with it, but that's a chaos I could ride. If I go to a wave pool and I get hit with a wave really hard, I came to the wave pool, but I'm allowed to still be like, damn, that wave hurt. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at that shit, bro. I might still be mad she ate my damn French fries, but like that's a chaos. I'm cool with that chaos. If you're talking greasy to me because you feel like talking greasy is a communication style, I don't want that chaos. So it all depends on what chaos you want. Like I know I don't want a woman who's so wrapped up in, her career that she can't make time to grow and foster the relationship she has, whether it be to her family, her children, her father, her husband, like doesn't matter. I don't want a woman who doesn't have time for that. I don't like that chaos. That comes with a certain chaos. I also don't want to stay at home mom chaos. Right? So it's like, bro, it all depends. It all depends on the chaos. That makes sense?
Yeah. And that was a great answer.
You mean?
Um, so see, I want to word this. So where would you go, like, If I imagine I'm trying to find my dream girl, I know it kind of chaos, what I could take, what I can't take. How would you become the man that you need to be for that woman?
That's
What
another
steps?
excellent question. That's another excellent question. A great question can lead to many answers, right? But a normal question only leads to you know, one good answer. A bad question is either an obvious answer or something that has, you know, a bad question is usually only something that is an obvious answer to someone who has, relatively good intelligence. But usually there's no such thing as a bad question. A normal question is a question with one answer. A great question is a question that has many answers. That's all correct. And that, my nigga, was a great question. You know what I'm saying? What would you do to become the man that you want to be for this girl? Bro, the first thing is recognizing that a man is independent of a woman. You are a man with or without one. You are a man because God says you are a man. You are a man because manhood is what makes you a man, not a woman. A woman becomes a stage that you can choose to introduce in your life after you have achieved manhood. But you don't achieve manhood through a woman. You achieve manhood through struggle. You achieve manhood through prayer. You achieve manhood through the tutelage and guidance of God. You achieve manhood through um, discipline. You achieve manhood through time, focus, concentration. These aren't these aren't women, right? Your dream woman is in your dreams. Nigga, your dream woman is in your dreams, right? You can find a quality woman, a beautiful quality woman that you can entertain, right? You can find a beautiful quality woman that you can entertain. They come few and far between, but to become that man, first and foremost, you have to recognize that it's becoming a man is independent to her. Becoming a man is solely a journey between you and God, right? And once you become a man and you are a man, then you just seek to either become a better one or a worse one, right? Either a better one or a worse one. And this woman that you seek, this woman is going to be a popular suitor for a lot of men. And the first thing you have to ask yourself is if that's something that is a goal of yours, you got to ask yourself, well, what does God say about this? God says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. That means that you got to find a wife. But if you found a wife, that means you weren't married to her. That means a wife is a state of being, just like a man. So that means that marrying a woman doesn't make her a wife. It means you got to find her. Man, stop playing with me. You have to find her, bro. That means you have to search for her like knowledge. But first, you must search for knowledge. And knowledge is akin to a woman in the Bible. I'm on fire or am I on fire, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is akin to a woman in the Bible, right? He says, when you gain her, right? Knowledge, wisdom. I'm sorry, it's not knowledge, it's wisdom, actually. Forgive me, right? But yeah, bro, finding a wife, wisdom must be your first wife. Wisdom must be your first wife. You feel me? Your first man. Shout out to PG. Shout out to PG Warren B, author of Pimp God. Go get his book. Shout out to Pimp God. He says a man's first bitch is his animal. Are you familiar with the concept of an animal?
Um,
Just
nah,
like
like
just like yin and yang, right? Women have animus, men have animas. An anima is the feminine aspect of a man. right? And an animus is the masculine aspect of a woman, right? The feminine aspect of a man is the piece that comes from his mother, because we're all, you know, 100% of our mother and 100% of our father to become a whole being, right? And we take, you know, 50% of all of their DNA, right? Just a
Right.
representation, and then another representation of our fathers, and they become something, right? So we
Mhm.
have that feminine aspect in us, just the same way they have a masculine aspect in them, right? First thing you got to do is you have to get in touch with that, because that's wisdom, right? That's wisdom. That's that
That's
wisdom.
tough.
It'll tell you, it'll tell you not to mess with that woman that, you know, doesn't believe that you're worthy of respect. It'll tell you not to mess with that woman who look fine, but she's gonna waste your time. And after you bust that nut, you gonna want to just go to sleep and not go grind, right? It'll tell you that. But a lot of times people will hear that voice and neglect it, right? So you're talking about becoming a man for an imaginary woman that's in your dreams, but there's a man that you should become in the eyes of God, right? There's a man that you
Right.
should become in the eyes of God. And that man is wanted by every woman. It's really hard to resist that kind of man who has that kind of self-control, who has that kind of success, who has that kind of spiritual, astute development, right? That's the easiest way to become that man is to become a man that any woman would be blessed to have. Now all of a sudden, you feel me? Even the women you didn't think were wives are willing to pretend just to get your attention, right? So it all depends on who you want to be, but don't set your goals based on the kind of woman that you want to be with. Set your intention based on the kind of woman you want to attract, yes, but don't set your manhood based on what woman you're going to be with. Man, that woman could be with you and leave you, right? Would that mean you're no longer a man until you find another one? Absolutely not. Right? So you know what I mean? Like, does that mean you're not a man right now? No. No. Right? And if you're not, it's not because of that reason. It's because of other reasons, right? And so some of the highest men in ancient societies had never slept with a woman in their entire life. Christ, the man all these women go pray to, he had love from the women, and I'm sure they wanted him, but he wasn't knocking them down. The wisest man alive, Solomon had hundreds of wives and concubines, and they led him astray. He turned away from God. He came back, but he had turned away from him, right?
Yeah.
Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt because she looked back. So it's all a matter of asking yourself, okay, if I want this kind of woman, if I want this kind of woman, first of all, ask yourself if you can delicately hold that kind of woman. Because that kind of woman, if you break her, there's going to be a lot of debt for that. Every dude knows that there's good dudes, right? But every dude will swear there's no good women. There's a lot of good women, but you have to be responsible for breaking her. If you break her, if you break her spirit, right? And now she is vengeful, right? What Hope say? Once a good girl's gone bad, she's gone forever. You know what I mean? She's gone forever, right? And that's on you. That's on you, right? You played the form of a trickster. And a lot of dudes do that. Sometimes at the worst of it, older men will take advantage of a younger woman, or a young girl who, may be naive and want to be a good person, but he wants to use her sexually, right? So it's a matter of, you know, actually understanding, okay, I want this good girl. Bro, I promise you, there's been times where I was like, dang, do I deserve a good woman? And the answer was no. You know what I mean?
That's tough.
The answer was no. Niggas got to be real with themselves, bro. You know what I'm saying? The answer was no. If you like, bro, I did not deserve. There was a woman in my past who I didn't deserve to have a woman that was that cool. I didn't deserve that. I had no sexual control, right? I had no sexual control. And part of me knew that, which is why I didn't go all the way with her, but I shouldn't have done anything with her, right? That was me trying to feel myself. It wasn't me trying to move in my higher self, right? And so it's like, bro, when you get older, you're now realizing, dang, if I was having sex with every woman, I'd miss out on the actual better aspects of them. There's women who are extremely talented at what they do professionally, and I would do anything to take back having sex with them just so that professionally I could still learn and grow. That's real talk. You know what I mean? That's real talk. So it's a matter of first and foremost gaining control of the lower nature and recognizing that breeding is different from mating, and you got to learn that difference. And most of us were taught how to breed. Most of us were taught how to fornicate and breed. We're not taught how to mate, date, marry, and grow families, right? And that game is important. A man must know both, because those natures exist in both genders, both sexes, and they exist in both spheres. There's women who in marriages today that got married when they was young, and then as soon as they started growing a little older, their testosterone started spiking a little bit more than their estrogen, and their sex drive went out all crazy. All of a sudden, marriage is a burden to them, and now they want to go and be free, and they want to explore their sexuality with other men, right? It's a lot of men that are in marriages and were extremely attracted to their woman, and then 10 years later they're having this itch to have sex with another woman, right? And that's because we have a lower sexual nature and animal nature, and we have our spiritual self, right? And oftentimes they're at war with each other. The flesh and the soul war with each other, right? And we pay so much attention to one, but then we reach an age where our spirit is so loud we can't even ignore that nigga no more, right? And we start having these questions like, man, like, why am I, why I can't, why is it? But it's really a much higher problem, where it's like we've only been taught how to use our sexual agency as a means to destroy ourselves, not as something to work on something higher. You know what I mean? So it's really it's a travesty, but does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes 100%. It makes like 100% sense.
Yeah, real shit.
I,
It's tough, bro. I mean, I struggle with it. I still struggle with it. We gonna war with our flesh until we die. Like that's just how it's gonna be. So do women, and women don't like to talk about it. But if you just watch their eyes closely, you'll see them. You know what I mean? You'll see them. You be out in public.
so
Excuse me,
in
they
the
be going
process
crazy.
of
What?
in the process of like self development, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to become a better man. You want to become a better individual.
Mm-hmm.
When you really take you were mentioning taking a real deep dive into who you are, and recognizing your higher self and some of the lower, more animalistic things that you have. When you're taking a deep dive into this, like, what lens would you use? Would you use it more raw, analytical, very like would you be harsh with yourself, or would you be more gentle when looking at certain things, more compassionate when trying to become a better individual? Am
Um,
I
I uh, I lean.
what
It's a
approach?
spectrum, but I lean more towards the harsh. I'm harsh on myself because like humans naturally already lean towards comfort, right? We don't
Mm-hmm.
lean towards pain. We lean more towards comfort. It takes a sick individual or a very motivated individual or a little bit of both. You know, the line gets fucking blurred once you reach that high level where it's like, dang, is this nigga really motivated or is there something wrong with him? Right. And you can't really tell, right? To be able to push toward pain, it takes a different kind of individual to go toward pain, right? Um, Humans naturally go towards pleasure, which is why I go the opposite. I'm way more harsh on myself. I'm like, man, I folded on this, I folded on this, I folded on this. I need to get better. You know what I mean? Just like that. Might even make a beat with it. Like I folded on this, I folded on this, I folded on this. I need to get better. You know what I mean? Just a straight mantra in the mirror. And that's what I'll be telling myself. Get better. Get better. You feel me? Go scream in my car on the way to the gym. Get better. When I'm feeling like I'm slacking, I get angry. I use my anger. Um, I realize instead of getting angry at people doubting me, I need to get angry at the resistance that comes in myself. Run that back. Instead of getting angry at people doubting me, I have to get angry at the resistance against myself. So rather than using the fuel of a hater talking down on me and my pursuits and my endeavors, I use the fuel of when laziness sets in, I get angry at that laziness. I'm like, why the fuck am I feeling lazy? And if it's for a reason like I'm burnt out or I already had a crazy hard workout and I need to rest, then now is that's not grace. You were hard on yourself and you passed the test. When you pass the test, that's not being graceful. That's not you not being nice to yourself. That's you got it done, right? You got it done. So you don't need to punish yourself then. That it gets toxic when people punish themselves for doing well. That's when it gets toxic, right?
Yeah.
Um, but if you miss the mark and it's a mark that's realistic, and it's you know it's a smart goal, right? I know y'all remember smart goals from school. You know what I mean? I know y'all remember smart goals from school. You know what I'm saying? It's a if it's one of them smart goals, right? If it's if it's specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant, you know what I'm saying? And time
Yeah.
bound, then it's one of them goals, right? Then it's one of them goals. But if it ain't one of them goals, then it ain't one of them goals.
True.
You feel me?
So, yeah, I think you made a lot of good points for today.
Hey, good look. Good look. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's just game because of your life. You feel me? You got the life where you actually are experiencing this. You know what I'm saying? You experiencing this, bro. You just want more out of life. You feel me? But
Yeah.
a lot of people want more out of life and it's on a thing basis. It's not on a like a deeper basis. But they don't realize even to get those bigger things and better things, you have to change yourself. And then it changes the magnetic pull of what's around you. Right. And you
Right.
know, I I want lower cortisol levels, my nigga. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I want some low ass cortisol levels and some high ass testosterone. You know what I mean? That high ass testosterone. You know what I'm saying? but but yeah, bro, I think in all honesty, you be you be doing your thing with the shorties, but I think you need a filter. You know what I'm saying? I think you need a real deep filter. Like, what do I actually want from a woman? Add, subtract, deal breakers, things I could live with, things that I won't live with, things I really love, right? Shit like that. And then get down to like start on a physical and move up from there. You know what I mean? You build shit from the ground up. From the ground, you only see a shorty for how she look like. You don't see her for her inner qualities. So start from the ground up. What does she look like in your mind? This dream shorty, what ethnicity do you want her to be? What do you want her to look like? And then after you know what you're looking for, put yourself where they are. You know what I mean? I got a homie who loves Latino women, but he don't never go to South America. Like, bro, like you talking about, man, there's no Latinas here. That's because you in the middle of the United States, right? And literally, you damn near grew up in a sundown town. You're not gonna find them there. But granted, times are changing. You know what I mean? He might luck out in the next 5 years with how this demographic going. But you know what I'm saying? Once you know what you're looking for, then you gonna know how to actually catch it, right? But right now you don't know what you're looking for, so you got to figure out, what you gonna get. You can't fish for marlin how you fish for trout. I ain't even a fisherman, but I know what that's about. Stop playing with me. You can't fish for marlin how you fish for trout. I ain't even a fisherman, but I know what that's about. You know what I mean? Real rap.
All right, man.